Welcome to Voices of Solidarity. I'm Wyatt O'Brien Evans, and this is the first of many global gatherings we have planned. Today's global gathering is with Aggie Dennett Harmon. She's Uganda's first openly transgender pastor and the author of the forthcoming book, Echoes of Grace. Now, I had the chance to sit down with Aggie for an inspiring conversation that you'll find simply amazing. And don't go away. After the interview, Aggie will be joining us live from Uganda for our global gathering, so you can join in. Aggie, you are Uganda's first openly transgender woman pastor, and you've stated, and I quote, "Whether behind a pulpit or microphone, my mission is clear: to uplift sacred stories, reclaim faith, and radiate grace in the face of adversity." That's profound. Let's unpack that. Tell us more about that.
One, who is Aggie? People ask me who is Aggie, and I'm just like any other normal person, and I've had to go through a lot, hell on earth, to get to where I am. But amidst all these struggles, challenges, I've never given up. There have always been a reason for me to keep striving, to keep fighting, to keep striving so that I can be seen, I can be heard, my voice can be heard. And what better way than to uplift my community? Despite behind a pulpit, within community gatherings, church services, I am always there because my story is like any other story. It's a story of hope, resilience, and a lot of fighting.
Well, we're going to really get into your story a little bit later, but let me say that you are fabulous inside and out. No doubt about it.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh, sure. You're welcome. Aggie, I want to congratulate you on your upcoming book. The title is, I love this title because it means a lot. It's titled Echoes of Grace, The Sacred Lives of Rural Trans and Queer Women. We are going to really dive into Echoes of Grace. We're going to deep dive into it later, but for right now, give us like a 25-word or less synopsis of Echoes of Grace.
Echoes of Grace 1 is not just a book project. Writing Echoes of Grace, it is being a game changer. I've born Echoes of Grace through my scars of survival. It's not just a book. It is a living of many stories of women who have endured rejection, like I have, violence and exile. I had to leave my parents' home at a very young age. I had nowhere to go. I had no hopes for life, and that's why I'm writing Echoes of Grace, because I want these stories that have been silenced to be heard, for people to know what exactly it is that is happening, or how exactly you can be trans, you can be queer, and you can be in the ministry, you can't be anything else that people basically think that you cannot be. You can't be a doctor, you can't be anything. We are wrapping stories of inspirational stories, people inspiring other people that basically are going to be reading this book, to know that you can be anything that you ever dreamed of, as long as you persist and work towards that goal.
That is so well said, and you are a shining example of that. Okay, we're going to get into the book a little bit later, Echoes of Grace, but right now, I want to travel down the corridors of time to learn about your beginnings. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I want to make sure.
Yes, I'm ready.
So, where were you born and raised? What part of Uganda?
I was born in Jinja, in a very remote place that I don't even think it exists on the map. It is
No.
called Kagera. That's the village. It is
Okay.
in the deep villages of Jinja. Yes.
Okay. How far is that from the capital city of Uganda? Uganda's capital.
Um, it is a 2.5 hour drive from the capital.
Oh, okay. Got it. Got it. Okay. I want to discuss your journey as a transgender individual, Aggie. When did you first feel the need to be your authentic self, and what obstacles did you encounter as you traveled your path?
Um, Being me hasn't been easy. It has been a journey of denial, resilience, and a lot of battling here and there. I was scared. I was scared because I thought who would affirm me, who would really love me if my parents have failed to acknowledge me and accept me. Then who will love Aggie as Aggie?
Right.
I lived first as a gay man because I was afraid of accepting who I am, because
Oh, I see.
this is Africa, and
Yeah.
even within our own community, there's that bias of why are you trans? Why are you transitioning? Why are you like this? There's that bias even within our community. So I had to leave that. I had to be in relationships. I had to be, I had to sacrifice a lot about from my story, because I wanted to feel love, the love that I didn't get from my parents. Thought I would get that love from a partner, and
Absolutely.
and and it turned out that I was wrong. So I had to I met this amazing woman um, that enabled me to see the light in me. My mother, my trans mother, she's called Mama Annette. She told me one thing: to be happy, you have to embrace who you are. You never find happiness in a partner. So I embraced who I was, authentic. I was fully, and that is when, I think 2 years, not 2 years, 3 years ago. That is when I was like, you know what, to hell with it. I'm no longer hiding. I'm no longer doing things because I want to please my partner. I want to please the person I am with. I am living for me because we live once, and I am living fully for me.
Oh boy, absolutely, Aggie. So well said. So well said. Um, would you like to comment on Uganda's heinous anti-homosexuality act of 2023? And that restricts freedom of speech on LGBTQ plus topics. It introduces very harsh penalties for certain types of homosexual acts. And correct me if I'm wrong, I believe this is one of the harshest anti-LGBTQ plus laws in Africa.
Yeah, one is the law. When the law was just passed, it didn't just criminalize identities, our identities. It encouraged violence. One
Yeah.
is, besides, long ago there was violence, mob justice was happening, but not like how it is right now. Because when the law was passed, it encouraged people to be violent. It forced people into hiding. It has forced us into hiding. It has cut off access to health care, basically, because if you are giving maybe condoms, lubricants to a queer person, you are instead promoting homosexuality. So that is basically how the law has hindered a lot, and it has silenced the entire community. And as a trans person and a pastor, I felt isolated, and we are in great danger right now, because even landlord is if they're harboring you, basically the law is basically saying that we are not entitled to living to having a home to stay, or buying necessities like normal human beings. They're basically treating us like, I think, objects that are not even human beings.
Wow. And you know what? That's happening in Ghana as well, because recently, Aggie, I interviewed a young man who was a victim of anti LGBTQ plus violence. So it's so, I can't put how I feel right now about it in words. Um, you are Uganda's first openly trans woman pastor. When and how did God call you to become a pastor? If you would, please explain that process, how that happened.
Um, as you said, I'm Uganda's first openly trans pastor. Um, why God called me? God has different ways of doing things, and they're very unique. Just in the Bible, when you look at um, the prostitute that came and wiped Christ's feet with oil, and um, God has different ways of delivering His message. Basically, growing up, I've been told that would not belong because, according to the Bible, God destroyed the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, which
Right.
is entirely wrong. For the time I've been in this, I've been in the spiritual world, I've been in the faith movement, I've had a lot to learn and grow and dissect and get from my brain because when Christ destroyed the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, God destroyed it because of different reasons. These were being disrespectful. These people were promoting rape, which defilement, all these obscene acts, but it wasn't about homosexuality basically. So becoming a pastor, basically, my aim and my calling is to change all these narratives that have been passed on from generation to generation, that that you cannot be trans and be a Christian. God does not make mistakes in the Bible. To what I've read, God knew me before I was even born. He knew that Aggie would exist the way I am. So God does not make any mistakes. So I have to live to it. I have to spread the word and change the narrative that because every child that grows up or that is born in Uganda, they're told the same narrative, the same story every now and then. But then we ourselves, because I know change begins with us, and and as a leader and as a youth person, we the youths are the next generation of tomorrow. So what am I doing so that my community lives in a world that is free and peaceful, that welcomes them and affirms them?
Well said. I have to say that just talking with you in this short period of time, I feel your resilience. I feel your dedication. I feel your love. I feel your comfort. And all of those characteristics are so important when one is a pastor or a minister. So I really want to thank you for that. I really, really do. Okay, let's now move on to your upcoming book. I love the title, Echoes of Grace, The Sacred Lives of Rural, Trans, and Queer Women, which explores the intersections of faith, transvisibility, storytelling, and liberation. And Echoes of Grace also centers on how queer and trans people, especially in places like Uganda, are reclaiming spirituality as a tool of healing and resilience and resistance in the face of systemic oppression. Let's discuss this. This is ambitious, and this is really a much needed volume of work.
Um, well, let's talk about Echoes. What basically inspired me to write Echoes?
Okay.
Before writing Echoes, there was a project that I was working on with my organization. It was called Rural Radiance. That was basically amplifying trans stories. During this period, during this project, I had to learn the naked truth of sisters that have been raped, and I'm a victim of rape myself. And
Oh my
these
goodness.
stories have been silenced, that no one dares talk about. So
Take your time.
Echoes began in my own silence and of so many other rural trans and queer women that have been harassed, women that have been misunderstood, completely ignored. Growing up in a homophobic country like Uganda, where both being a trans person and a person of faith is really impossible, and it's a contradiction. It's contradiction. It's a contradiction. But one thing I've always known is I know one thing is God has never turned away from me,
Right.
and God is always by my side. All I want is these stories to be heard, people to know that these things are being done to us, these things are happening to us. We are being raped, and with the law, we have no one to run to. We have there is no we have no one to run to, because you go run to the law and they ask you. But then basically it's you asking for it. No, my dear, I didn't ask for it. Me dressing out the way I'm dressing, I'm just me being me. I didn't ask for a man to come and undress me and take away my dignity.
Mm-hmm.
Many of our trans sisters are living in depression. They are crying every day. When I was doing rural readings, I discovered a lot. I learned a lot, which I learned a lot, the sad truth of reality. Basically, what we are going through.
Take your time.
I was harassed. I was left for death by someone I loved, someone I thought that was my friend, and I had no one to turn to. I was depressed. I was ashamed of my body. I couldn't even look at myself. So this is basically, I want these raw stories to be heard, to be seen, for people to know that these things are happening to us. And there is no one that is fighting for us, that is standing in the way of our justice. We haven't received any justice. You can't run to the police. Run to the police, they will question you. Why are you being like that? Me being trans does not basically give an invitation to someone to come and rape me, or to someone to come and harass me.
Um, you know, thank you so much for sharing that. And I know it wasn't easy, but you know, you have a message that needs to be heard around the world, and I think um, people don't hear it. It's just not talked about enough. It's not, you know, the bright light isn't shined on it enough. And again, I want to thank you for sharing that. And I have a question for you. Does this happen, Aggie, more to rural women as opposed to urban women? You know, women living, trans women, for example, living in, you know, rural areas as opposed to urban areas.
Um, it doesn't basically, it happens all of us at large, but for rural
Right.
trans and queer women, um, they are the most vulnerable and the most powerful people that I've known my life. They are raising children, they are fleeing violence, they're organizing communities, and you know, when I was growing up in a rural setting, I didn't know about organizations. I didn't know that. Um, I didn't know about the community. I didn't know. I had nothing. I was blank. Just that is why I'm fighting so hard for my sisters in those villages, because who is there to tell you about community? Where are you going to find community? Where are you going to find organizations that are going to support you, maybe with mental health, mental wellness? Where are you going to find all these communities? I had to step out of my father's door. That is when I discovered all this. So before they even step out of their homes, I want to take this message to them. I want this message to find them at their doorstep, so they are well aware where they can get help. That they have community or people who care about them.
Hmm. Absolutely. Like I said earlier, the title "Echoes of Grace" is it really grabs you, and you know, finding the correct title, the appropriate title for a book is very, very important. It makes people want to really dive into that book. So you probably said it already, but again, Echoes of Grace, what's the meaning behind that?
Um, as I've said, Echoes of Grace began in silence when I was in my bed crying, because of what happens and what has happened. This book has been born from my scars and survival, because I've had to fight a lot to get here. It's not just a book. It's a living archive of many sacred stories of women who have endured pain, rejection, and violence, as I've said, and exile. And and we are still here to rise in power and love. So basically, why echoes? Because we want these stories to echo out there, to echo out in everyone's ears. Narratives or stories have a way of changing people's perspective. They have a powerful impact on human life, because most of us have grown up listening to different narratives. Let me say, according to research, a dog kills many people than a shark, but because of the narrative of a shark is more dangerous, we are afraid of sharks more than we are afraid of dogs. Basically, people have dogs, lots of dogs everywhere. So
Right.
that is why we want these stories to echo out there. Want these stories to change people's perspective on trans people, trans persons, on queer women.
What are some important takeaways from your upcoming book, Echoes of Grace? Give us some takeaways.
Um, I'm still writing it. That is one. My takeaway is we are resilient. We are meant to be. Um, Despite our scars, our foundation, our scars, the Bible has this part of when God was rising up from the when Christ was rising up from the dead. Um, we all know Christ is spiritual, and Christ would have risen from the dead with no scars, but Christ rising from the dead with their scars, um, that really hit me so much. It was like we can own our stories, we can own our scars, because these scars make us who we are. They are living testimonies to who we are, to why we exist.
Okay. Okay. Well said. Well said. Thank you for that. I want to chat a little bit about your HIV advocacy. First of all, what is the HIV rate amongst LGBTQ plus citizens of Uganda?
Um, right now, with a cut with the funding HIV projects,
Yeah.
I don't even think, but the HIV rate is increasing every day, because I have friends close to me that recently have tested for HIV positive, and which is very shocking, because at this time medication is scarce.
Yeah.
So it is very difficult. And the other thing is, most people in our community, they have not been able to have a good education, or have a good life, or have a good home. So our only result to financial stability is sex work. And in sex work, you might go to a client for a one night, and I'm saying it because from knowing, and from knowing, from having faced this, you go to a person's place, and you think it's one person, and in the end, you get harassed by many of them, many different people, and in the end, you maybe contradict HIV, which happened to a close friend of mine. Um,
Mm.
you can't. There is no medication right now. Everything has been put on and put what was stopped. Even the organizations that have been supporting hospitals, and the worst part of it all is people are taking advantage of this chance. The price for HIV drugs has actually risen, has doubled in price.
Oh my God. Wow. That's just Wow, that's disgusting. It's so they're what they're trying to do is they're taking advantage of a bad situation, and that's not good. Um, what do you hope to accomplish with Echoes of Grace?
With Echoes of Grace, I hope to accomplish a lot. I hope to tell that little girl somewhere or hiding that little girl, that little girl, but the boy that is hiding or that is not living authentically, that you can be who you are. I see you. We are here. We have gone through a lot, but we are still living. That does not mean that life ends. Life still moves. We are human beings. We are meant to face challenges. However much we face challenges, we are still striving, fighting hard for success. So I hope to touch lots of hearts, move lots of people. Who knows? Maybe even some heterosexual person who will be reading, or some homophobic person who will be reading, will be moved because these are things that have been done to us. These are inhuman things that have been done to us, and no one has come up to say anything about it.
Well, yeah, I believe it will have universal appeal. I definitely do. And I believe, Aggie, there's a fundraiser, right, for for
Yes.
your upcoming book. Can you tell us about that?
Well, we have a fundraiser running up. I'm working with different organizations to bring this project to life, to bring this book to life. Um, we sat down with all of them, with the team, and we decided that we will be raising 7,500 US dollars to fund this project. It is gonna help. It's gonna help with funding for the book, with doing the book, graphic work, editing, and even compensating for contributors because for their time and their stories.
Okay. Aggie, is there a particular website for the book?
Sorry.
Is there a particular website for the book? Or can we go to your website for further information?
Um, um, yes, you can go to my. You can. I do not have a website yet because that needs. I have to pay it monthly, and I'm still a person striving up the ladder, and I'm working so hard to get there. But you can get more information about it. I'll share with you the link about our book. Also, I also be working with our pride, Rainbow Advocacy Group, to set up everything about ECHO so that people can read about it, know about this work, and support this work.
And that's ourpride.org. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. Ourpride.org. Wonderful. Give us all of your social media. How do we connect with you? How do we follow you?
Um, Everywhere I use Agidonet Hammond.
Okay.
Everywhere, be it Facebook, be it X, be it Instagram. Um, Everywhere I use my name's Agidonet Hammond.
Okay.
And follow
Would you?
me.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. Please finish.
You can follow me. You can see the amazing work that we have been doing, me and my team and my sisters and my community, that we have been doing for the Ugandan community at large. Not only the Ugandan community, but even the Kenyan community.
Do me a favor, Aggie, and spell the title of your website.
A double G I E Dennett DENNE double T E Hammond HARMON Agidenet Hammond.
Got it. First of all, I want to thank you for stopping by Wyatt. It has been enlightening and inspirational. Aggie, you can come back anytime you want.
Thank you so much, Wyatt. To our dear viewers, Echoes of Grace, it is not just a book. It is a spirit. It's a spiritual testament. For the silence, for us who have been silenced a lot. All I can say is support us. You can just share about this. Let people know about what we are doing, our work. People hear us, and to every trans person that is watching or listening, to every queer person that is watching, you are seen, you are valued, you are loved, and you are worthy a lot. Let nobody let nobody put dim your light down. Let your light shine. Be the most queer person you can ever be. Be the most gay person you can ever be. Be the most at what you do best. Be the best you can ever be. I have been told I could never make it in life, but I am a living testimony. I came out from my parents' home. I didn't know where I was gonna sleep. I had nothing, but I've hustled, and with support from friends and a lot of work, here I am. I'm still alive. I've had to go through a lot. Just because what you're going through today is not the end of tomorrow. You are seen. Your scars today are your testament tomorrow. Your situation today is your stepping stone, is your foundation, is your reason for you to always keep pursuing for success. Let nobody dim your light. Be the best at what you can be.